Let's talk a little bit about China and the U.S. and the Middle East. President Biden has urged President Xi of China to leverage his influence in persuading Iran to refrain from actions that could escalate the Israeli-Hamas war. With us now is Carice Witte, founder and director of Sino-Israel Global Network and Academic Leadership. Thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
What kind of leverage does China have over Iran?
Well, it's well known that China is basically a monopoly buyer of Iranian oil, although, as we know, it also sells to Iraq, which opened up that $10 billion conundrum for the United States, where Iraq's payment to Iran will be funneled through Oman. But beyond that, China has a corner on the market for Iranian oil. It has a certain amount of leverage, it's true. That's why Saudi Arabia, or one of the reasons why Saudi Arabia approached China to be the broker of the Saudi-Iran rapprochement. They believed that because Iran is somewhat beholden to China, there was more chance of Iran sticking to the deal for a longer period of time. The question is, to what degree can China exercise that? Does it want to exercise? Can it exercise that leverage? How powerful is that leverage? I think there is some leverage there, but it is limited, and China uses it in very carefully. And I believe that behind closed doors, China is likely speaking to Iran on a very regular basis about keeping the tensions in the Middle East down overall, and especially now, all things considered. We don't know how much effect they've had, because we see Iran's proxies attacking Israel, attacking the US, et cetera, from all sides. At the same time, I think we can expect that it's in China's interests to make sure this war does not escalate.
Now, if you look at China's point of view, are the Chinese interested in a quiet Middle East or not necessarily?
Well, exactly. I think totally quiet, I think it's up for grabs. It's not necessarily something that they are concerned about. But they're absolutely existentially concerned that the conflict does not blow up in very wide proportions that would limit the delivery of energy to China. Because if there is a cut of 6 or more % of oil from this region to China, it's existential. The price of oil reaching $250 or $300 a barrel due to some major war is existential for China. So it has an active interest in keeping the conflict to a minimum.
So in this regard, the United States and China are on the same page?
They are. It's difficult for China to be on the same page as the United States. And that is, I think, one of the reasons why we have seen China refuse to call out Hamas, use the term Hamas, or say that Hamas is a terrorist organization, because the United States is full-throatedly supporting Israel. The 2 aircraft carriers and their frigates accompanying them were a very powerful statement to China. And I think it made many of U.S. allies and ally wannabes to open their eyes and take note. I just returned from China and Japan a few days ago, and I heard quite a lot about the impressive nature of U.S. support that was shown for Israel.
What is exactly the temperature now of the relations between China and Israel?
It's not warm, and rightly so. The Chinese behavior with respect to what happened on October 7th has been very problematic for Israel. The view of the Chinese, and they made it very clear to me while I was there, is that yes, what happened on the October 7th was horrific. However, the response is disproportionate. Clearly, the Chinese are having a very hard time understanding the existential threat that we feel and that we see when Hamas stands up and says, we will commit October 7th over and over until we're done with the job. And, for us, this pulls up our trauma from 70 years ago. And it takes a lot of effort to get the Chinese to try to put themselves in our shoes. They're very big on numbers. And they're in general, they're very big on statistics and numbers. And they have a hard time with the fact that 1,400 of us were killed and 240 captured, but 10,000 Palestinians have died. And that is the very simple math that they do that makes them say Israel is in the wrong. Israel has gone too far.
Okay. Carice, thank you very much.